It's just,
Yes.
we did it right.
Okay. All right, well, let's get started with a word of prayer, and then we'll get down to some business. Gracious God, thank you for this morning. Thank you for a beautiful day outside. And we just give you praise and thanks for the number of people that have been a part of Helen's Helpers, that are coming to Helen's Helpers, and those who are receiving care. God, we just pray that you will continue to use us as your hands, feet, and voice into the world. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. I would like to go around the room and just briefly introduce yourself with saying your name, and then if you are currently a Helen's Helper sitting with someone, if you are new and you're interested in learning more, or lastly, maybe if you're a nurse assessor. So, my name is Helen Pollock, and I'm in the care department here. And so, no, it's fine, please. And then, so we started this ministry in the spring of last year, maybe, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, spring of last year. So, Dave?
I'm Dave Murray, and I guess my wife was Helen, and I took care of her for some years, and people always told me, Dave, you're doing a wonderful job, but you gotta take care of yourself. I got some take care of yourself when you're giving a loved one care 24/7. And nobody ever volunteered to sit for her while I wanted to do anything. So my option, if I wanted to be gone, was to hire somebody here, Jay, for hours and hours. And Helen didn't need that kind of care. She needed, she just needed somebody to make sure she didn't try to make tea on the gas stove or something that she wasn't capable of doing, or she might fall. But, so anyway, I thought there was a need for this in the village. So, Helen, bless her heart, Marilyn, helped me get started with this. I've been sitting for a gentleman, Ken Martin, in this church. His wife is Toby. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of weeks ago. And his memorial service will be Saturday at 1 o'clock here in the chapel. So I'm ready for a new assignment. So
I'm Barbara Byers, and I'm a nurse assessor, and my husband and I have sat with a fella who passed away last fall.
I'm Shirley Moore, and I'm just very interested in serving in this ministry.
I'm Alice Kalinowski, and I kind of try to help Ellen with the administrative part, and I've probably spoken with some of you and met some of you with people. So if you get a phone call from me, that's who I am. And I sit with a woman who has Alzheimer's.
I'm Pat Cronk, and I'm a retired geriatric nurse practitioner, and my subspecialty was dementia, and I'm one of the nurse assessors.
My name is Lauren Lindsay, and I'm here representing myself and my husband, who kind of work as a team. And we have helped in one situation, and he fortunately has been able to get involved with a daycare situation, which he does twice a week. So that, she said she thought that, that really fulfilled her needs, so she kind of freed us up. And now we're in transition, and we're going to, we have another person that we'd like to be seeing.
I'm Kathy Conley. I'm new to this, looking forward to seeing where it goes. Great. Welcome.
I'm Mary Place. I'm also new to this. Want to learn more and anxious to serve.
I'm Dick Tibbetts, and my wife and I have been helping a couple for the last 9 months, 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
So we were told to be here.
She told you to be here, huh?
Thank y'all for being here. And y'all were our first Helen's Helpers. The first person that requested help was oh gosh, the name just went out the window.
Shirley.
Shirley, yes, Shirley and Royce, and it sounds like it's been very successful.
Very.
That's great.
Well, I'm Joyce Miller, and I'm new. I'm eagerly anticipating assignment.
Great.
I'm Clint Wentz, and my wife is not here. She's on the phone right now, but I think Alice assigned us a couple, and we just fell in love with them, and they fell in love with us, and we just love it. And it's a blessing, so much of a blessing.
Wonderful.
I'm Christy Faison, and Jim and I have been working with the same lady Alice is working with, and she is very sweet, and I am a former activity director for assisted living and nursing homes, so I try to come up with some different things that we can do. But I will have to say, from working for the past 20 years, while I just retired a year ago, it is such a need for families to have this. And I think this is, when I saw this in the newsletter, I just thought that is the best program. I'm so glad you came up with that, because people do need a break. Caretakers do need, family caretakers do need, a break so they can be more vital to their loved one. So we think this is a blessing, and thank you for coming up with this, because we love doing it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, I'm Jim Faison, I'm a golfer.
That works too, right?
That works.
I'm going to try to get you some cool air. I don't know if this is indicative of the hot air in the room.
I'm Pat Regnetti, and this is my husband Ken back there. We have been giving care to John Greer so that his wife, Kathy, has some time for things that she needs to do. And it's been a really great relationship. We just adore John and Kathy. And Kathy tells us that John really looks forward to our visits. We haven't been doing it very long, and we're also looking for things to do that he can participate in. So
I might ask, who gets the greater benefit out of this program, you or?
I think we do. I feel as if I get so much more out of it, and it's really, it's not only fun to do, but, as they say, it's a real blessing to be able to do this for these people, because there is such a need.
I'm Karen Parks, and I'm going to be working in partnership with my friend Joyce, and we're waiting for an assignment that should happen in about a month. I'm so happy to know who Helen is. We don't come to the church a lot. I don't know the story, but that was beautiful to hear, and what a legacy for her. She must be smiling.
I'm sure she is. Dave has done a great thing.
Okay, I'm Don. It's my wife Jackie Walker. And Dave spoke to us at church breakfast about a year ago and got me kind of enthusiastic about it, so we got involved with the first meeting I think we had here. I think it was in this room. But we weren't able to do anything last summer because we're snowbirds, so we were able to do it in October. So we have a couple, Howard and Marcia, that we go together to and let Marcia get away, and we have time with Howard at home. So
wonderful.
We're enjoying it. Thank you,
And
Dave.
she is so appreciative.
Yes, they are, and that's the benefit. And we'll have some time to share some stories, but I have not heard one person say how grateful they are. They are so grateful for the help they're receiving and the relationship that they're building. So what a joy. Okay, Ken.
No, you already got me.
Pat took care of you.
And I'm Doris Drews, and I do the initial home visits assessments.
Doris.
I'm Lou Ann Parker, and I'm new to the program.
Wonderful.
I'm Diana Roser, and myself and another woman, we work with an Alzheimer's patient on Fridays, and sometimes we take it to the movies, but what she really likes, she likes to listen to music. So anytime there's a activity in the villages on a Friday that has music, we take her there, and she loves it.
That's wonderful.
Jerry Byers, and we stayed with fellow Ralph Wyman, a cancer patient that passed away, and so we haven't been reassigned yet, but it is beneficial, I think. Barb and I went together, and so it helps to have two people.
Yes.
I'm Jane Musgrave. I'm from Dave's hometown,
Oh.
and I assisted with Helen. And Dave, I fed him. But they had been friends of ours for years, so it was easy to fill in. And Helen always had a smile, always.
Jane is the only one that ever volunteered. I said, everybody said, oh, Dave, you've done such a great job taking care of her. But Jane is the only one that ever said, can I look after her this afternoon while you play golf, something like that. Bless her heart.
Nice to meet you. Glad to have you. Many of you may know the story of how Helen's Helpers did come about, in which Dave related a little bit. And some of you may not know as much, and Dave really resisted us calling the ministry Helen's Helpers because I don't think you really wanted the attention,
No, I didn't.
But it just seemed a perfect fit. And for these type of ways that we can provide some respite care, just in honor and memory of Helen being a lovely person and a caring person. And Dave, don't get emotional around me. The thing I love, Dave and I have gotten to be good friends, I think, and I love Dave very much, and I love his heart for ministry, and he was very persistent with wanting to keep this going. And actually, if he got you sold at a men's prayer breakfast, he's also sold people at Wednesday night dinners when he's serving you a meal. He's talked to several different groups about, he's gone to the Alzheimer's groups we have here on Thursday. He's gone to any venue he can get a voice and looks for volunteers or people that are in need of care. And I think that's a wonderful witness, so thank you for all your hard work on that day. Much appreciated. So for those of you that are new, just the brief overview is that we do have two sides to our team. Barb Byers is the head of the nurses team, and that team, when we get a request for someone that would like a Helen's Helper, that nurse will go out and assess that person's in their home, in their environment, to see what their diagnosis is, to see what their living situation is like, and get some feedback, kind of explain what we will do and what we won't do, and then see if it's a matching fit. They submit a form back to the care office that they've completed that says whether they believe this is a good fit or not a good fit. I don't know that we've had hardly any turned down, to be honest. Most everyone has come through. There's been situations where maybe the family has decided this isn't a good time because of some changes in their health, but we've not had anyone that we've turned down for help. I think we try to give everything a good try and see how it works. And honestly, I can't think of anyone that we've stopped serving unless in the case of a death, like with Ken Martin or Ralph, that we've had situations where we've had to stop care. So that's also a wonderful thing, that things have gone so smoothly and so well for everyone. Anyway, the nurse assessor does submit the form back. When I receive that form in the care office, I email it to Alice Kalinowski, and probably a lot of you may have talked to Alice. Alice is essentially my lifesaver on this because there's so many pieces to the pie that I can't do it all. It's just impossible. So Alice keeps a database of all the volunteers. She keeps a database of the people who have requested care, and then she matches up with people to try and help with work with schedules and people that want to be in a part of a team or they want to go solo or whatever they want to do. She handles all of that, and I am so grateful to what Alice and Barb both bring to the table because it is a tremendous help in all of our nurses. It is huge. So once Alice contacts the person and said, would you like to sit with this person to have an opportunity? From there, we try to connect them. And once they're connected it's up to the Helen's helper and the caregiver to work out what schedule works best. We want y'all to feel free to say, hey, I can't do Wednesdays because that's my such and such day. I volunteer at the hospital or I do whatever. But I could do Tuesdays or whatever. We want you to feel that flexibility, and we also want you to feel that it's okay to say, I can't make it this week because I have a doctor's appointment or whatever. Can I do a different day for you? Or I can't make it. You don't have to do this every week. If you want to do it every week, that's wonderful, but we want you to set that flexibility. So thank you for managing and keeping your people happy, because everybody's happy. And that's wonderful. That is so wonderful. What I'd like to take a couple of minutes and do is take some feedback from the nurses. If there's anything that you see we could be doing differently, better, well. I know we've recently added a form. Barb gave me a whole bunch of forms. In case of emergency forms, yes. That is completed and put on the refrigerator or nearby for the Helen's helper. We had not thought about this. To be honest, and it was Pat Crunk that brought it in to us, and the reality is, I mean, a lot of this information we should have, but if you had to call 911, and I didn't realize this until I had to call 911 recently for someone who had an incident here at the church, I didn't know their doctor's name. I didn't know what their diagnosis was. I didn't know what their allergies were, and I didn't know their medications. And they'll ask you all of those things on the phone. And I'm like going, I don't know. She just passed out in the church. I mean, but that's not, I mean, we can't know every situation, but when we're sitting with someone, this is a real help to have. Excuse me. So nurses, anything that we need to discuss?
Ellen, can you send that form to me and then I can send it to the...
Absolutely. Actually, I think I have.
Yeah, it's in the packet that
And
people are supposed to have
we've
gotten.
got a digital file.
We have digital files, but I also have blank ones here.
Yeah, I can email it to everybody here, maybe all the packets for you so you all have them. Okay.
And make sure when, what do we use, the caregiver leaves, make sure you get his or her cell phone number.
Oh, absolutely.
And make sure they've got it turned on. That's happened to me twice. She left it off. Fortunately, I didn't need it desperately, but make sure that they are in contact with you.
So when the nurse assessor, the new request, the nurse assessor has that completed and leaves it with them to put in the refrigerator.
There's two different things right now. They complete a respite intake sheet. Well, these are front and back, but these aren't.
Yeah, it's a 2-page.
It's a 2-page, it's a front and back sheet that they complete, and at the end they sign it and say whether they think this person is a good care person for Helen's helpers. They also complete this, if I understand correctly, is that right, the in case of emergency? Do y'all do that part and leave it at the house?
Usually we ask family to
Complete it, okay.
Yeah.
However, that works out, but if you want to have the family do it, or if you want to do it while you're asking them questions, that's up entirely up to you. And, you know, I just noticed special preferences, choice of hospital, that's a good one to have too.
Because we realized when we started the program that we're serving 3 different counties within the villages, and sometimes right outside the villages. So the unit that is going to be the closest one to this address, and they're going to ask what hospital you want to be taken to. And they're going to want to know because of where you live, you know, that way they'll know what county you're in.
No, that's a great point.
There's a PS to that, though. Once they're in the hands of the paramedics, they make the decision
As to
where.
where.
You can put in a
Depends on the
request.
stage.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I leave the what we do and what we don't do in a plastic sleeve
Okay.
for them, so it's more identifiable for them rather than a paper gets shoved in a drawer and they won't remember it. So that emergency thing could really go right in there.
Well, that's a good idea.
And things that's on the respite care intake that the nurses do are for your help when you go out. And that is, you know, whether they walk with a walker, if they walk unaided, what are their preferred days that they wish to have help, any additional comments that the loved one wants to give about or the caregiver wants to give about the loved one. And of course the diagnosis. And then we're supposed to do the visual watching as to, do you think that there's anything else without the caregiver giving us that information just by observing the loved one and watching them? Is there anything else that we need to write down?
Those forms are available to all of us. I don't think
we can get them. I mean, they're not, what you would need to know, and maybe this is something we do or don't, I'm not sure, is that when a nurse assessor completes that intake form, and we scan it and send it electronically to Alice, I mean, maybe Alice could share that sheet with.
I usually type it into the email.
Okay.
I don't attach it as a copy.
Okay.
I just
And basically, we got the names and addresses and phone numbers and diagnosis and age and interest.
That's pretty much what's on the form. That's
So-
pretty much it.
So you don't have any information as far as like a caution or watch for or anything like that?
Not unless it was noted on the sheet.
Yeah, or something. I just sent something to someone and there was a whole sheet attached about his interest and his family and grandkids and their names
Yeah,
and that type of thing. And I did type that into the email.
That's a good idea too, you know.
So if the loved one is asking or talking about a person, then you know is the volunteer.
It was the nurse, it was the person who took the intake, it was attached to it.
Oh, okay.
It was for Dick Pence, I think.
Oh.
Are we gonna go over the
Yes.
activities for caregivers and stuff, for the new ones, probably?
We do the nurses give them this caregiver information that says that basically we ask that they stay with the loved one, read with them, play games, engage in conversation, may offer DVDs of the church services if they would like it. They may answer the door or the telephone and take a message, but Helen's helpers will not include administration of meds or treatments such as tube feedings or oxygen or anything, lifting including restroom assistance, pet care, transportation, and meal preparation. So those are the things that we're leaving out there that we don't do, and Ken's got some.
Our care receiver, actually not the care receiver, but her spouse, he used to play golf. I would have liked to have taken him over to the local course, which is only about 4 or 5 blocks away, on my golf cart, to do a little putting on the putting range, or hit some balls on the driving range. Now, what's the issue is regarding if you were to transport?
We don't have an issue. We've had it, actually Diane takes her loved one that she's taking care of. She takes her to the movies and to music, like she said.
Okay.
What we do, though, is we don't want to throw that can of worms out there for you on the front end unless you're comfortable. If you are comfortable and you want to take them a couple of blocks to the golf course and putt, that's great. If she feels comfortable, there's 2 of you and Margaret both take her somewhere, and she's not very advanced, if I understand correctly. Now, there have been cases we've heard where people have, could you walk the dog, and they take the dog out and then the loved one locks you out of the house. Okay, so we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to take them for a walk because that's something that they enjoy, we certainly endorse that and getting them out and getting them fresh air and.
Their caretaker needs to be aware or needs to approve.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If the caregiver
The family.
and is fine with it, and it's something that you feel the loved one would want to do, we think it's great, but we don't want to pressure anyone to saying that's something you have to do. So, because actually we had one just recently ask if we could take her to lunch or the movies. Yeah, and I'm just going, Well, I'm not gonna comment until that particular Helen's helper feels how they feel about that situation, and especially until you get to know them a little bit. I just don't think that that's something I would endorse until you know them well. But that's part of the whole, giving them the information, letting them know in writing, this is what we will commit to or not commit to, and then anything else you kind of work out as your relationship develops is fine by us.
Just, for example, I always went with, or I started going with some prayers and some recordings of Harold's sermons and a few things like that. Well, Ken wasn't really interested in any of that. What he wanted to do was watch TV on Tuesday afternoon. So frankly, I got accustomed to Tuesday afternoon TV with him. He didn't really want to chat. I mean, we chatted a little bit about his family and his service and all that stuff. But basically, he wanted to watch Bones and some crazy TV shows that I'd never watched. So it was really easy, and we became friends. We were prepared lots of times to go for a walk or go for a ride in the golf cart, but turned out we never did. He really wanted to watch TV.
Yeah, y'all have a different situation. If I understand correctly, with Royce, he likes to talk about the military and things like that. So, and I love him. He's such a sweet man. But I mean, he's probably not wanting to be perched in front of a TV. He wants to visit.
No, he likes to watch. He likes to listen to his country music. But then when we arrive, he likes to talk military. And so some afternoons, that's like 2.5 hours. He likes to reminisce.
Right.
And his voice level goes down and down and down and down and down. And down.
Well, his memory issues, and
Sure.
he'll get so far, and then he'll repeat, then he'll forget. But he has a grand time. I mean, they can
That's
share
wonderful.
their grand time with them.
That's wonderful.
He's delightful.
When I went back home over the summer, then I sat with the gentleman there, and Helen's heard this story, most of you have, but he thought that his wife had somehow put him on a boat. And so when I was there, we spent the afternoon on the boat. And, yeah, we sailed for a while, and then we rowed, and and I loved the boat, and so did he, and so.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Like Royce insists that I share cookies with him. So I have to go out in the kitchen and get
Yeah,
some cookies.
I mean, it'll come naturally. And for simplicity, we refer to him as the loved one and the caregiver. So we always fumble around, call him, you know, this and that, patience and so forth, but we just call him loved one and caregiver.
I was saying to myself, I can't remember the name, I can see them in my mind, but I can't remember their name. But the husband wanted her to keep going as much as possible, you know, they still have things to do. But yakking with her, and then she said, beautiful lady, I mean, dressed to the nines, and I said something about friends. And Claire's she says she's lost all her friends. And what she needs is a girlfriend. That's what she needs. She's a girlfriend to talk, you know, whatever, but the girl thing, you know. And I thought that was so sweet, but it, you know, so when you're there, I mean, you find out so much. You know, you can fit that niche that's so unique.
I just wanted clarification on this. Sure. Respite care will not include lifting, including restroom assistance?
Yes, they need to be mobile enough to go to the bathroom on their own. The reason we're just protecting you in liability situations, and them, because actually, I mean, further down is that if anything happens, a fall, any occurrence, we call 911 immediately, just for your protection, so that there's never a question on keeping things above board and with integrity. So
That's one of the advantages or requirements too, that you go in pairs. Now I went alone. My guy was really in pretty good shape. I did take him by the arm, make sure he didn't fall down, take him to the bathroom, but he took care of himself.
You're a little bit of a renegade, Dave. You
I
like to
know,
go on your own.
I do have a question.
Sure.
On the 911 thing,
and they come to or decide that they're gonna take them, do you go with them to the hospital?
You call
or- You call the caregiver as soon as you call 911. And you tell them that you've called 911 because there's been an incident of whatever kind, and then what you hope is that the caregiver will be back before they leave. If that's not the case,
You have to know where.
Do what
you have to know where they're going.
To tell them.
Yeah, to tell the
Caregiver.
Yeah, you would hope the caregiver would be back home in that amount of time, but if not, then you would need to find out where they're taking the loved ones so that you could have the caregiver meet them there. I would say not unless you feel like that's something you really, if the person's really upset and needs that piece, I think that would be important, but
I
Any
certainly
thoughts?
would have done that, but it's up to you.
what do you think?
That,
Barb, Pat,
that-
Doris?
it
I don't
depends.
know that we could offer much in the way of medical information,
Yeah.
but just the comfort part, if you
Mhm.
felt that you knew the person well enough that you could calm them,
Yeah.
then that would be appropriate, but
You're
otherwise.
also the only reliable historian of what happened.
Well, and that's why that sheet is so important, that you can just actually take it and hand it to them, and they'll take it from there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna just say, and I'm gonna pick on you, Dick and Muriel, but I mean, if you had to call 911 for Royce, I'm assuming y'all would go with him.
Absolutely.
Because you've developed a relationship and he would feel comfortable with you. But I don't, I think that's something that you're gonna individually choose once you're in the
I think
situation.
it's important that once you know them, that they see a familiar face.
Yeah.
Friendly face.
And we've not had an incident. That's even, I
Yeah.
mean, there was
Yeah.
one that I would knock on it, but we've not had any incidents to date.
Would you have to have the key to the home if you're taking the loved one out, or if there's an emergency situation and you go with them?
I would think that they would have to leave you a key, especially if you have a person that's mobile that wants to go for a walk.
Make sure you have the key.
Yeah, you have the key, not them. Because they may put you out.
Well, the caregiver's not supposed to be farther than, what, half an hour away? That's max.
Yes. We ask in the, when we talk to them about, we ask them to be no further than a 30-minute radius from the home and to have their cell phone on them at all times. We did have one person ask for a Helen's helper, but she didn't have a cell phone. And it's like, no, that's not safe for you and for your loved one. So I think that has to be mandatory. I mean, most people have cell phones nowadays, but that has to be mandatory, is they have a cell phone on their person and turned on. That's the utmost important. Because that would put us in a really hazardous situation.
Is this program only for our church people? Could go outside the church for
Well,
people to?
That's a really good question. We have initially said our church and also those who attend the Alzheimer's support group and respite care here. And that is many people in the community, because we're the only place that provides respite care for the Alzheimer's support groups. The fear has been, if we open it wider to the villages, is that we will have more people than we can manage with our volunteer base. And that we will have different liability issues. That could be a possibility. And so I think at this point, we try to educate our congregation or the people that come in for a Helen's Helper, and we educate those in Alzheimer's. Because Dave has visited the Alzheimer's groups several times, so have I, to talk about what we do. And they tell each other.
Yeah.
They talk among themselves and say, well, I have a Helen's Helper that sits with my loved one on Tuesdays, and it's the greatest thing I've ever done. Greatest thing that's ever happened. So they talk. We build our base really through them.
Yeah.
And I'm just a little scared to say, hey, let's open it to the villages. We could be we're in a phone, central. So.
Our couple that we serve, they're members of St. Timothy's.
Yes.
I
Our
don't see
couple
where that's
is
a big
Jehovah's
issue.
Witnesses.
But they all come through our Alzheimer's group here.
And you see, your task is, as a respite care provider, is to bring them over to our church.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, but you know, I think this is the body of Christ in action. By regardless of what faith they are, you're showing them that extension of the hand of Christ. And whether they're Jehovah's Witness or whether they're Catholic or whether they're whatever, it doesn't matter because they're seeing Christ through you.
I mean, look at that, especially what your husband sang the other night. They will know we are Christians by our love.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Helen. It is. And that's the truth, and that's what we're supposed to do. And I just, unless we had hundreds of volunteers trained and ready, I can't see that we would open this up past these two bodies. But the Alzheimer's group meets so many needs, cross-section in this community.
If any of you wish to come and observe what the Alzheimer's support group does with the loved ones, it's really amazing. In order to watch them in action outside of their home atmosphere as to what they do.
What, is that Friday morning?
It's Thursday mornings at 10.
O'clock.
So we could come and observe.
Oh, do that.
Sure.
Do that, that's fine.
Sure. You know, this past Thursday, we had 3 classrooms of support group. We had this room, the next one, and classroom 3, and they were all full. We had over 50 people in support group that day, and was it 20, 30 something in the respite care with the puppet? Because all the puppets did a performance. And they have some sort of entertainment and games and for them each week, and the volunteers that do this are amazing.
They can
people
use
that,
help too.
Yeah, they do. They really,
some help.
They really do a great job putting things in action for them, but you know, they're such a lovely group of people, and they all communicate together and support each other, and that's how this has really been a springboard for Helen's Helpers. I mean, we don't get many people outside of the dementia and Alzheimer range. We have a few, but
that's one of our disappointments. There's lots of people that are not necessarily, the loved one is not afflicted with dementia or Alzheimer's, but they need somebody there, and they're not coming forth. So if you know people that, and I understand, I would have been reluctant too, except with somebody that I knew very well. But you know, if you know people that are providing respite care, you know, encourage them to sign up. You know, that's the group that really isn't served at all. They don't go to Thursday morning dementia or Alzheimer's, and they just basically are tied at home.
that's true. That's a good point. We're kind of working on a list of people that have some chronic or acute illnesses in the care office, but you know, a lot of people that still have their, even this happens in dementia and Alzheimer cases, people that have some of their faculties, they don't want a babysitter. But some people are welcome for the visit. So I think that's kind of some of the roadblocks of getting this ministry really launched, is getting people to understand it's not a babysitting service. It's a companion. It's giving you a break. And maybe those of you that have worked in the industry of dementia and caregiving, and maybe y'all have some thoughts on how to help people overcome that. I'm looking at you, Christy and Pat. Thoughts?
I think we need to put our heads together, because activities is like golden.
It is.
And then to understand what's going on with dementia, because they can be here present and then they're gone again, you know. And it's awfully hard to accept strangers into your home.
Sure.
You're a woman, you protect your domain. Bring in a pretty lady, and have to understand that. We need to get our heads together. I really think we can come up with something really, really good.
You know, the other thing too is you use the word babysitter. Well, one time when we first started sitting with Royce, his daughter called from out of state, and he said, "Oh, the babysitters are here." And Dick and I had said, we don't want to refer to this as babysitting.
No.
So we said, no, this is adult care. We're helping Shirley to be able to go out and socialize, get to her Bible study group. So I said, we're not babysitting.
Friendly visitors.
No, we don't use that term. It's like, I don't think we're babysitting.
No, I don't think so either.
We prefer to think of it, yeah, we prefer to think of it, we're visiting a friend.
Exactly.
I think that's a great
Companionship.
way.
Yeah.
That's a great way of looking at it. And that's your set aside time to visit with that friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she calls us when she needs us, and we put it on the calendar. Glad to do it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
I did it every Tuesday afternoon, so she could plan. I shouldn't say, but at least once a month was poker.
You know, whatever they do. There's some people that go get their hair done, or they go to doctor's appointments, or they come to Bible study. There's one person, and I don't know if somebody here is sitting with him, that he just needs to get out and ride his bike. And he's a biker, and so he wants, a bike rider, and
Yeah, that's Paul.
that's Paul. He just wants to get out and ride his bike. Thank you for and so, if we can give them that peace of mind for an hour to 3 hours somewhere where they can have that non-worry, don't worry.
That's one of the things that I struggle with when I sit with Beverly is like just sitting there. But then I have to keep in mind because, when I try to start a conversation or talk about something, and you can tell that when she wants to say something, she can't get it out. And so, I said to my husband a couple of times that, I have to keep reminding myself that I'm there to provide, someone to be there for her safety. And it's really Ralph who's getting, the break. Because, sometimes I'll sit there and I'm like, I should be doing something, but then,
We just have to serve their needs in whatever way. In fact, we were there yesterday, and Beverly fell asleep when we got there and slept the whole time. And I told Ralph, I said, we didn't do a darn thing today. I said, I feel kind of bad, but whatever it is that they need, if they need to do something, walk around, that's fine. If they sleep, we're just there to meet the need of whatever it is at that time.
Right.
Every week it's different.
Yeah, that's what I have to tell myself.
One of the crazy spin-offs of this, it happened in Sterling, and it actually happened a little bit here in the villages. When neighbors found out that Helen's Helpers was coming in, then the neighbors realized, and they volunteered for other people.
Yes, lead by example.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
One thing you can ask the caregiver to leave some pictures out. Because I love to talk with grandkids. That generally, if you're having a hard time getting a conversation, who's this? In a picture. It's something simple, but it generally opens up a little bit.
And that's something about Alzheimer's or dementia, that they can remember those things, whereas they can't remember the daily, what did I do this morning, what did I have for breakfast? I can't remember that.
This is a really big subject, so I'll keep it brief, but music and memory.
Yes.
There's a wonderful documentary, if you have not seen it, called Alive Inside, that talks about how this group of people, the psychologists started working with Alzheimer's patients and discovered the connection and how much it did for the Alzheimer's people. And so he started this program where they have, each one of them has their own little iPod that's loaded with their own music. So if they were church involved, it could be gospel music. If they were a musician, it could be jazz. It could be swing music if they were dancers. But when they hear this music in their ear, it prompts all kinds of memories, and it's a great conversation, and it wakes them up, so to speak. So I recommend that documentary. It's a could be another sub-program, but I
That's
don't know
okay.
how to lower an iPod.
That's great, that's a great thought, you know, if I'm correct, Beverly really likes the sound of music. And that,
She sings a lot.
yeah, she does sing all the time. On Saturday nights, do you hear her when you come on Saturday nights? She sings, not the words, but she hits the notes. And she was a musician. She was a wonderful musician, and she has a gorgeous voice, just a gorgeous voice. And it's sad to see that they can't get out what they want to get out, but at least she's still making music.
Yeah, I've known caregivers in nursing homes that will say the same thing, that they'll, somebody in the evening, a caregiver, will go walk around humming or singing an old hymn, and people that have not spoken for a long time will start singing with them. So, yeah.
Sean and Beverly have a little game now. He'll say, "Can I sing with you tonight?" And she'll kind of give him a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe, well, only if we do it my way kind of thing. And then they both break into some notes, and so it's kind of fun. It's become a little game for him, and he loves it because she has such a gorgeous voice, and it brings such joy to her. So it's finding that niche. We said we would talk about different things. I have some resources here that we've got copies of, and I'll pass them around. Hang on a minute so we can look at some of this about communicating with people that have dementia. These are just some tips that we provide to people that are going out to maybe helping them focus on some different things and learning how to communicate. We also have in this packet like some activities, 101 things to do, and they may be things that you would think were pretty mundane, but clip coupons. They might love to clip coupons, and it might help the caregiver. I don't know. I mean, right there for your person, sort poker chips. Right there. Listen to music. Look at family photos. There's 101 things here that you can do with someone that you're sitting with that may help pass the time for them or give them some engagement. Did y'all get copies back here? Okay, good. Worry about that. And then there's also a sheet about just communicating with a person with dementia, and these are just resources we have in the care office. We also have some booklets that are really interesting and helpful when you want to know more about Alzheimer's and dementia that we get from the Alzheimer's Foundation. We're heavily involved with the Alzheimer's Family Organization. That's what they use our site locally for different events, and they meet here occasionally. Barb, you could probably tell us a whole lot more of what they do here, but we just had an AFO meeting, didn't we, Friday?
Right, they meet, but they're having a walk coming up, and honestly, I don't know a lot about what they do at their individual meetings. They meet monthly here, and they just did a program where they offered respite care, and it was well attended. It was last week on Friday, so they do that every year, and
they did.
Coming up on the 26th.
They had that guy that talked about the superheroes in caregivers, wasn't that?
That was Tom Ronkowski, Superheroes, Alzheimer's. That was another
AFO thing?
No, that was a definitely private group that came in for Alzheimer's.
And so we have different things going on here that allow us to have different tools. So if you want more information than what's in this packet, we can give you some other booklets and things about Alzheimer's. I think there's not a special training that you have to do to be a Helen's helper, but more about having just that compassion for another person. Those are really the things that, being compassionate, being willing to listen, being willing just to be present.
Treat him as a friend.
Yeah, treat him as a friend. It's a great way to look at it. Okay, any feedback from people that are currently sitting that we haven't talked about that maybe you would like to share a story, share something that is, you had a question about? Is there anything that we can share and kind of learn from each other? Did I put you on the spot?
Is there any procedure for kind of giving feedback to the
Yes,
office on a regular
there is.
basis?
There is. We have a volunteer feedback form. Let me see where I did with it. I got so many little packets here. Volunteer feedback sheet. And we can send these to you electronically, or we can give you the paper copies here. And basically, you don't have to fill these out every visit. That's not what the point is. The point is to give it to us when there's a change in the person's health, mental state, home situation. If something has changed that we need to know about, that would be a good way to communicate that to us. You know, sometimes, we haven't had it happen yet, but sometimes that person may go to a point where they're not a good candidate for us to have that responsibility anymore. We don't know when that's going to happen because each individual changes at a different pace. But I wonder, like, well, if they need a new assessment, if they need, if they're maybe at the place where they're going to need full-time care in a facility, those types of things we're just not equipped. I mean, we're not equipped to handle that. But this would be a good opportunity. Or maybe if one of these loved ones, excuse me, ends up in the hospital with a different illness, maybe they have pneumonia or they have a virus or something and they're in the hospital, it's a great way to let us know so we can go visit them through the care office and the pastor over or something. Those would be things, changes that we would like to see on the form. So I can give you some of these. If anybody wants one, we have plenty of them.
Well, in our case, the wife, the last time we were there, explained to my husband and I that she's noticed some real subtle changes in him. He's, you know, he doesn't get along well now in crowds, you know, and with certain people he does not want to see. You know, and she just wanted us to be aware, you know.
That's important. It's so important.
That would be maybe an indication.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a very important thing because I think that helps you care for him better, and it also gives us information on what we can expect sometimes as changes go forward with different people, that because this is all new territory for many of us.
Well, the wife was real adamant in telling us that her husband loves us, loves having us come, and looks forward to our coming still. So, you know, we're not on the.
You still got the white hat, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And for those new, a lot of you already know this, but for those that are new, when I was sitting with Ralph, he just loved hearing Pastor Harold's sermons, and the library over here has DVDs of the services, so you can go over and you can pick one up and
they got a lot of other materials too.
Yeah, so yes.
Right in the drawer there, lots of little.
Good point. In the library, there's a whole drawer dedicated for care ministry. These are books that you can give away. You can come pick what you like, and you can give it to someone. If you want to give something to the caregiver, if you want to give something to the loved one, if they still do some light reading, these are little devotional books. They're just they're a wonderful gift that we can leave behind. So anytime you want to use that, there's a drawer right at the front desk, and they will gladly let you have what you need. Please take advantage of that. A couple of things that Alice has asked me to bring up. One thing is about substitutes. Sometimes you can't meet your appointment. And we've had some situations about substituting, and maybe Alice can tell us a little more.
Well, my question is, like, there's partners, like I subbed Diane and I forget who her partner is.
Margaret.
Mm-hmm. And so Margaret couldn't make it, so I went and subbed with Diane. And so Diane was there because she, you know, which I felt comfortable with, but I got an email from Margaret that they're both not available And so my question, or how do we handle this, is that to put somebody in that for 1 week where neither person, I mean, I was there for 1 week, but I wouldn't feel comfortable being there by myself or with another person. So I guess my question is, like, if someone can't be there for a week, are we required to provide a substitute? Because you're not you don't know the person, so you're going to be, jumping in for a week.
That's a great point.
Because I don't, I went, someone else is subbing for Diane with Margaret. I think it's on, actually, I think it might be this Friday, the 19th. So there's one person that's the constant and somebody new, but to have 2 new people, like, I don't know.
That would be hard.
So
what do y'all think?
I think it's up to your caregiver.
Right.
But I think some of the caregivers might think that we are required to provide a sub, like in the case of Bess, is it? I think.
Yes.
Now I know one person covered for Ginger. Is Ginger here? One person covered for Ginger while she was away extendedly, and then now Ginger can't do it, or the person that was subbing for her can't do it. So they're looking for someone to jump in for a week, and I don't I don't know if I would be comfortable doing that myself, or if anyone else would be comfortable just going over. So, like, do you say to the person that we can't provide someone that week, or do they expect you to provide a sub?
If the caregiver really wants somebody, now, my caregiver would say, that's fine, that we just try to get another day. If that didn't work, no problem. But if the caregiver really wants somebody, insists on somebody, nobody else wants to go, call me. I'll go.
Well, we wouldn't mind doing that either. And what would be helpful is if we could go meet them maybe a couple days ahead of time, just so when you get there, they're not scared. But it'd be good for you too, to just go and meet that person and just sort of get sort of a little feel of what that person is like and how you connect.
Because the caregiver may have some qualms as far as their loved one, how they're going to accept and receive that new face.
And when we were sitting with Ralph, there would be times that we couldn't go on a certain day, but it worked out with his wife. She was glad for us to come on a different day, because one of the things she did was like go get groceries. And so she didn't have to buy groceries on whatever day it was. Thursday, she could get them on Friday or Wednesday.
If you know you're going to be gone, you think that you could talk, you have enough advance to talk with the caregiver and ask, can I bring someone with me next time who would be a sub, so that for an introduction, and if everybody's friendly, not that they're going to remember, but they're not going to be nervous. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be nervous because it's something that they've seen, someone they've seen before. But if it's last minute,
I think that's something, and I'm going to borrow from another ministry. We didn't do things for Angels and Amigos without 48 hours, was it noticed?
Yeah, we had to set that limit because you have to give the coordinator time to make phone calls.
So I would say if there's a couple of weeks, like maybe you're gonna you're gonna have to be gone for a couple of weeks or something on an extended trip, and you let the caregiver know. I think that's an option if we feel like we have substitutes that would be comfortable stepping in. But I wouldn't want to do something on a last minute, and I wouldn't want to go do something by myself either, per se, without knowing the people. I kind of tend to agree. So,
in the case of, I don't know who Diane and Margaret, I have it down here somewhere. When I was subbing for Margaret, and I met Diane over at the house, and I've never met the lady or the husband. she was outside and the neighbor was there and she was going in and out and the husband wasn't even there. And so she was bringing stuff out and going, you know, the guy said, you know, I just happened to come out, and they've been neighbors a long time, so he was there with her. And then, but the husband wasn't even there, and then Diane came up, but I didn't know, I thought that was her husband, but it was a neighbor.
Oh.
So it was kind of, yeah. So it was like, okay, and then, you know, when we came back at 4 o'clock, he still wasn't home, and so Diane was going to stay and wait, you know, till he came home. So it was kind of like, you know, here, and this is the two people, you know, the two people that need a backup, and I have another lady backing up Diane on Friday, but I really haven't done much to find a backup for the following week, because I'm like, I wouldn't want to, I could probably go over there, but I wouldn't want to go over there, like, because, I don't know.
Good point. I think if there's a husband and wife going and sitting, obviously both of them are going to be gone most likely at the same time. So I think that that's probably something where you need to just work out with the caregiver when you can make a different time to sit with them. But if there's a team, like you said, where maybe one's going to be gone and you could go in with a familiar person that's familiar, I don't think that's a bad thing. Any thoughts?
No.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but to both.
But both being gone would be too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how the, so should I just let Diane and Margaret know that I can't provide someone that week, or?
I think it would probably be better for that situation to not send someone in cold. I mean, Dave here he's fearless, he's a lion tamer, but, you know, I don't know that would probably be.
And I can see in that case, like, I do Beverly by myself, but she's pretty, you know, calm. But in the case of the person that they sit with, it's, man, she was like,
she's
she
busy.
was just, you know, going grabbing pictures and taking them out and taking chairs, and, you know, it was like, woo.
We have a situation where we are going to be gone during the summer months.
Sure.
Both of us, obviously. So I assume maybe someone else will want to take over while we're gone. But how far in advance should we be introduced? We'll be leaving at the end of April.
I would think I would let Alice start working on a sub for the summer, maybe in 1st of April or into March. I mean, because Dave's gone as well in the summertime. We're trying to convince him that he needs to be here all the time. But I mean, if you're gone, we can put somebody in, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. I'll tell you, with Ken, that just passed, he didn't like having a sub.
Right.
And his wife stepped up.
Once you get to the top, you know, it's pretty hard.
Well,
He's already tagged.
no, once you've had Dave, I mean, it's kind of like,
I
well.
like the way I handle a channel change.
But it was a situation where Ken became kind of agitated with a different person because he was used to Dave, and so the wife asked us to just stop until a later time, and that's fine. We don't mind doing that at all. I hate that, you know, we can't help them, but on the other hand, reality is are we making their life more difficult or better? We want to add value.
I really think that experience is more typical. That change for a person with a dementia is very difficult. I see an advantage for going in, like I have not been able to work in this with helpers, but I see a real advantage if I could go in as a sub with a permanent person, just to, you know, kind of feel my way through this.
Sure.
But I would not be comfortable going in to a strange environment, and I come in and the person with whom I will be spending the afternoon doesn't have a clue who I am. And that is, when we took care of my mother-in-law, I don't know how many people she refused to allow to come in the house. And so we had to settle on one person, and when Maureen was not available, then that service was not available. So I can see that for you being gone for the summer, you know, that people have to get some advance notice, otherwise it's just, I don't know, Dave, I don't think you're gonna be able to leave.
And if you do find someone to take their place for the summer, I would recommend it be the same person all summer instead of different people every other week or so.
That's right.
Same person, you know. I think it's very important to disrupt the person who's receiving care, to disrupt their routine as little as possible, okay? And when they get used to seeing a familiar face, interaction and everything, like with us, okay? I think it's disruptive to them when they see new people coming in. Right?
I agree.
You know, because Royce actually looks forward to getting the cookies out in the water. You know?
Well, you know you're gonna get cookies every time.
Oh, I know. Even if I don't want them, I sit down and eat with him. You know? And he enjoys that, you know. And I don't know how many times he's told us about the pictures around the wall, but, you know, we listen to him and he tells us about the pictures and everything. And he loves that. So he feels very relaxed when we walk in. You know, they receive us like friends, which we are, you know. And Shirley leaves and she comes back in. Sometimes she comes back in early, sometimes she comes back in a little late, but, you know, it's really a great experience.
She's at a good comfort level.
That's wonderful.
When she goes out, that she feels, you know, he's in great hands, and she can go and enjoy what she's doing. And I just want to add, they only do cookies for him, they don't offer me cookies.
Oh, Ariel, I'm sorry.
Tell me something.
I'm sorry.
Oh, dear.
It's a man thing.
I think it is. It's probably a man thing.
I know, it's kind of nice that.
There's another issue, you know, this couple and Dave, especially this couple who are gonna be gone all summer, when they come back, would it be a good idea, maybe the week before they actually start being a caregiver, if they get reintroduced?
They're gonna have to probably be reintroduced because you don't know what's changed in their capacity.
You know, a lot can happen in, 2 or 3 months.
Sure. When do y'all come back?
About October 1st.
Okay.
Get used to it, Ellen will, all summer long. Why don't you come back? Why don't you come back?
I did, I emailed him all summer. When are you coming back? When are you coming back?
We could fly back, you know, for a week or something like that, or something.
That doesn't really solve the problem.
Well, I guess that opens the question of when are you going to smarten up and move down here?
Well,
there you go.
Her mom was 93, and her sisters are taking care of them while we're here, so we have to meet her sister and help her mom, which is why we go back. So we're trying to get her mom to come here. We thought we had her convinced, but now she says, I'm a homebody, I don't want to leave.
My excuses are running out.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Because we have work for you to do in the summer. Just because it's summertime in Florida does not mean that things stop. It's busy here. It's busy. Okay, one thing I'd like to ask Al is maybe she can tell you, how many of our volunteers are working, what percentage-wise? Do we have open volunteers?
Yes, we do. You know, but it's the day. You know, when I call people and the caregivers give me a specific day, you know.
It's a day problem, okay.
So, and we were trying to cover, and I made a lot of calls, but I didn't get not a lot back, and left messages. So, I would say probably more than 60% are covered with someone.
Okay.
And then others, you know, I have to start calling because I got a new one. And then another person requested another day.
So you're saying that we have more volunteers than we do?
Yes.
Yes.
How many clinics do we have?
I don't have active sheet with me.
I'm going to say active, probably 20, 25 maybe? 20?
Probably, yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I would think it'd be.
No, they come in spurts. I mean, you'd be surprised. We'll get 2 or 3 requests in a week, and then we farm them out, and then it's quiet. And then we'll get a couple more, and we assess them, and then it goes quiet. And so it happens every so often. So people that come up and go, I want to be a Helen's helper, but I haven't been assigned yet. And I'm like, I can't control the intake,
Well,
you know.
And here we've had, well, Ralph died and.
We've had a couple of deaths. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we have. So, is there anything else that we haven't talked about? I want to be honorable to everybody's time, and it's a little after 11.
Could I just say one thing also? Our first visit with Ralph and Beverly, he stayed that first time. So the whole time, we were there for a couple of hours, but we walked around, we did things together. So the first visit, maybe it's kind of nice to set up so that he is there and he can see how you are also, or, whoever can see how you are with them and just see how you react when they. And one other thing I just wanted to say, you asked a little story. Here's a short one. One day, Jim and I kid around a lot. So one day I was saying, oh, Jim, and I can't remember what I said, and I was sort of kidding her, and Beverly said, and she's not always clear in what she says, she said, you should not say that to him. And I was just kidding, and I just said, you are right. And I said, I'm sorry, Jim. And she felt so much better with that. But she just, once in a while she'll just come out with a few words that just, but she jumped right on that. And
took to your defense, Jim.
She did, and she loves Jim. She'll rub his hair. Well, I think she likes me too.
I got one more thing, and I don't know whether you ladies know this, but my friend who recently joined the church, Sandy Warnock, is an artist, a professional trained artist. And so if anybody has a particular need for somebody that is interested in art, let me know. She's signed up, I think.
Yeah, she is.
But so just keep that in mind. If you get somebody who really wants to draw or something, Sandy loves to do that, to help them.
One thing I would, I guess in closing, before we close in prayer, is that if this is your first time here and you have not done your background check and your vulnerable adult form, please see Barb. She's got those in the back. And Barb is also the other lifesaver in this event too, is because she helps me day in, day out. So Barb Prindle is over here in the corner, and if you haven't done your background check and your vulnerable adult form, we need those before we can put you in action. We can give you copies of anything you want today, feedback forms, more of the communication, the caregiver information, anything. We got copies of everything here. And I just want to say thank you so much for making this ministry successful. It is going so well.
Just one other
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
When I get a request, I try to pair people.
Sure.
So is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, unless somebody has, like,
spouse, right.
You said you wanted to be paired with Joyce, so, we know situations that people want to work together if they're not working with their spouse. Yeah, that's great.
And I personally thank all of you from the bottom of my heart.
This is a beautiful ministry. I'm just so proud and so pleased with what has happened in the body of Christ here through New Covenant and Helen's Helpers. So let's close with a word of prayer. Gracious God, we are so thankful to be your children. We are so thankful that we can serve you in this way. Help us to continue to be your hands, feet, and voice to the world. And let us see your kingdom here. And we ask all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.